There's only one customer here, the United States. I mean, I guess our allies are a subset, as a group, but, there's some limitations there. So you basically have arguably two customers, the US and who the US approves you can sell to. And they want things a certain way. They even tell you how to bill it. And we're leaving it up to them, the people who are actually busy protecting the world and keeping peace and acting as a deterrent, to innovate. And maybe that's too much to ask. That would be like asking a beat cop, hey, how should your patrol car work? What should be the features in what engine, what carburetor, what computer should you have in your patrol car? It's like, well, the car companies are sitting there trying to figure that out. Am I understanding this paradigm shift correctly?
There's absolutely a paradigm shift. And I'm going to give you one more very concrete example. It's just one part of a huge problem. But even with what you said, typically, yes, the government writes the requirements and they are buying to the requirements the system needs to do this. And, the major primes are building to that. If you're under a cost plus contract, it's not like most folks working that are thinking just how can I pump up the price and, stiff the taxpayer. But fundamentally, if a customer asks for something and it's actually very difficult, it hurts manufacturability, it's going to increase the cost greatly. If you're planning to sell these things under a firm fixed price model or commercially, you will fight to the death that this is a bad idea. And you're going to go literally generate conflict between you and your customer, which is always uncomfortable. But in a cost plus environment, why do that? I'll just agree to it. Oh, look, the schedule's now longer. It's going to cost 3x as much, but this is what you wanted. And I told you the consequence and you said do it, but you don't fight. And I think that's just a small example of what has been part of the problem.
And so you're kind of left with having to just build these things and then show them and then say, hey, we built something. Here's the capability. Here's the cost. Might this interest you? That's how the industry is kind of moving now, you think?
It is. I mean, obviously the space is now venture backable. We're venture backed. That's relatively new. Honestly, Anduril's success unlocked just an enormous potential in the fact that now these types of companies are venture backable.
And they're standing on the shoulders, I assume you would agree, of SpaceX, which showed,
100%.
Hey, you can have the government as a client and it will work out pretty well. And you can actually make things that kick ass that they didn't ask for, that they will eventually buy from you. And all my friends who are SpaceX venture capitalist investors, founder fund, et cetera, they're feeling pretty good about the investment now. So it's a kind of a big unlock, yeah?
Yeah, totally. And so the SpaceX thesis, right, there's still a commercial aspect to it. Anduril's definitely more defense only, but there was a very big software focus. We're down here, we're making hypersonic missiles. There's not a obvious, what's our SaaS subscription software play? There isn't one.
Yeah.
And that literally was uninvestable probably 3 years ago. And so this market is now unlocking. And the reason I say that is if you're in this traditional kind of market with selling to the Defense Department, everything you do, if you don't have outside capital that you can go raise, you have to find funding for it. And of course, like you mentioned, well, this is how I like my steak and potatoes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one to take a risk on totally changing how we buy these things. And then of course, you're kind of stuck. I can't innovate in that environment where you won't pay and I can't raise capital to go just do it.
How long will it take you to go from raising your first venture dollars, outside investment, let's say not your own seed capital, but from first day for outside capital to first day revenue in from the government? What's the number of months or years, do you think?
Oh, no, it was months. It was months in our case.
Wow. So you picked something that they really needed. So in 6 months, 9 months, you had money coming in from the government in the bank account.
Correct. Yeah.
How is that even possible? I thought the government moved slow and this took years. What happened? Explain it.
So I started my career as an engineer working in defense and aerospace and worked my way up into doing government sales, which is extremely esoteric. And really the reason I did that was I actually wanted to be part of driving what are we working on? Because typically as an engineer in aerospace, you're told what you will work on.
Yes.
And so I found being part of the sales process actually helped, pick what we are working on, what we're trying to solve.
This is there's two very important founder lessons here. If you want to be the CEO eventually, the sales team, especially in the early days of a startup, they're the closest to the customer. And they really start to understand what the problem set is, what the needs are, what the willingness to pay is, what the quantity is. If you look at just that subset of tasks, Sounds like the CEO's job. Sounds like the founder's job. The sales job is the founder's job. Eventually, you have to get a customer, and that customer has to be delighted. So this is actually a really interesting lesson here, I think, is don't look down on the sales job. If you are a young person and you can get into sales, you know what? I guarantee you the CEO is going to come talk to you at some point. They're going to be like, hey, how's customer X, Y, and Z doing?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, it is sales. And yes, you're trying to make sure that you're getting to a product that you can actually make money from. But sales fundamentally, before you make your sale, is really like product development. What
Absolutely.
Are we building the right thing? Is this what the feedback is? Is this what we should be building? Are we building something no one will buy and everybody is already telling me there's no way in hell they're going to buy that? You're the voice to the rest of the company. And if you're doing sales correctly, you are doing product work as well.
Yeah, and this changes over time. But this is such an astute point. If you look at your first couple of sales executives as product discovery and customer discovery individuals, then you can take in your mind half of their salary and comp and put it towards product development and half towards the sales process. And that will make it easier for you. Now, of course, once you have a product completed, well, then you're doing consultative sales. You're saying, hey, here's what we have. What are your needs? And you're kind of matching it up and closing the sale. And then if you really have a great product like SpaceX does now, the third phase is you're picking up the phone and taking orders. How many would you like? What date do you want this thing to go to space? And, in your case, hey, how many engines, how many rockets? What do you want? We'll write it down on a piece of paper. We'll get it to you. And then it's just about delivery. But this is so important because to our previous discussion about the paradigm shifting, I think what I'm taking from this is a really important insight, which is you can build the sales team can get in there and build exactly what the customer wants. But then there's also room for creativity and the founder saying, I want to build something that they don't know they need. And that's part of the balance is knowing when to listen to them and when not to listen to them. As that famous Henry Ford quote is they would want a faster horse or faster, if I asked them what they want, I want a faster horse. And it's really want a car, actually. All right, we all know if you're a founder, or even if you're a small business, you're thinking about your company 24/7, 365 days a year. That's the life of a founder. This is not clock in, clock out, 9 to 5 gig for you as the business owner. So when you're hiring, you want a partner that's as equally as committed as you are. And that's, of course, LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is like your co-founder. They're going to make it so simple for you to post your jobs for free on LinkedIn, where there are 1 billion members. You're going to be able to share what you're posting and actually keep all the promising candidates organized in one place. And also, LinkedIn is going to help you quickly write a job and get it in front of the right people, whether you want to post for free or use some promotion to get it in front of even more qualified applicants. So do me a favor, don't take my word for it. I mean, you should. I know what I'm talking about. This is where I find my great people. But just understand that 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn said that it helped them find the best candidates. So find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses already use LinkedIn for hiring. So here's your call to action. Post your job for free. Why wouldn't you do it? It's free. FREE. That's a good price. LinkedIn.com/TWIST. Once again, that's LinkedIn.com/TWIST to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.